Yes, guys. So we'll start with November second week current affairs, guys. So remember, after October, right, number of questions for prelims keeps on increasing. Now we need to be very careful and look at the issues in detail. So even though we say when it is like 2025, from last May to next May, that is almost 1 year, current affairs is important. But when it is October onwards, current affairs becomes extremely important for you. And now let us see some of the important issues of November. See guys, these are some areas which have been neglected, which we will be focusing. After that, from magazines also we will try to cover, so that no issues would be left. As October is completed, I will do October current affairs from other areas as well. But basically, the book October will be dealing with September. November will be dealing with October. So based on the issues, I will give it to you with clarity. Fine. So, but as of now, let us focus on the weekly issues. So one most important thing that entire country is waiting is about the population census, guys. Okay, please understand, census is extremely important for understanding not just the population, but also the poverty. Like, you know, there will be approximately some 35 things that they will collect from households. So remember, whenever they come to a household rather than coming to a individual, they come to a household. And what is the meaning of a household? Meaning of household is, it's not like, okay, one house, how many people are there? Not like that. It is like, you know, number of people dependent on one kitchen. Number of people dependent on one kitchen is called as a household. Now remember, the household can be people who are staying outside, people who are staying below flyovers. They are also part of households, and we call them as houseless households. Okay, we call them as houseless households. Let us say in orphanages, like, you know, in some NGOs, if people are there, we call them as institutional households. Okay, but more or less what we see is all these people must be dependent on a single kitchen. And we ask approximately some 35 questions and collect data. And on the basis of this data, we are going to do many other activities in the country. Whether it is about our sex ratio, whether it is about our literacy rate, everything will be done in detail with respect to this. And as it is going to start, like, you know, so in 2025, right? So it's a very, very important one as of now. And remember guys, according to our constitution, we had told that by 2026, the number of MPs, whoever is there, like, you know, it is fixed at 545 based on the population in 2006. We are going to increase this number, and by 2026, we are starting in the year 2025, and it is expected to complete by 2027 or 2028. So after this, we are going to go for delimitation. Okay, completely we are going to do a research on this. And remember, 2029 elections, you may have complete change with respect to this. That's why this is very, very important for us. And census basically is actually, like, you know, done decadal in India, right? It is normally decadal in India, and the first actual census was done at Dhaka, city-wise. It was at Dhaka, which is today's Dhaka, Bangladesh. Okay, and it was in 1872. Like, a full-fledged survey was done. Okay, study was done, but only from 1881 we started decadal census, guys. Okay, decadal census started only after 1881. But unfortunately, when we wanted to start in 2020, due to COVID, we said we are not going to go for the census, because it was an exercise where you have to go to, like, every house and come. So this is why it is extremely dangerous. So they said we will postpone it, and by postponing, now it has come to a conclusion, 2025. And about the census department, remember, it comes under Article 246 case. Okay, it comes under Article 246 and it is in union list. Okay, the sole responsibility of the census lies in the union list. It is not given to the state governments as well. And the office of registrar who is involved in it, office of registrar who is involved in this particular act, comes under Ministry of Home Affairs. It's a very, very important point. Many people are not aware that, like, Ministry of Home Affairs probably looks into census, because remember, this is the most crucial data. It requires lot of security. Historically, like, it is important for security purposes to write it at one place. And today, as you are aware, data is the new oil. Okay, with data we can do anything. So remember, based on the security of the information, it is kept under Ministry of Home Affairs. And if you are talking about going to Northeast India, if you are talking about going to, like, Mizoram, Manipur, Nagaland, where there was some sort of security threats, at that time it was only CRPF which would help. That is the reason, like, we have kept it under Ministry of Home Affairs. And many state governments may give false data as well. And many state governments may not allow central governments to go. That is the reason it is kept under union list. Yes. Okay, kept under union list because of this. Now, always there is some sort of debate about Aadhaar, guys. And the new debate is, can Aadhaar be used as, like, identity for birth, date of birth, identity for date of birth? Can we use this? So basically what happened recently, there was an accident. In the accident, the victim had to be provided some compensation. But if the victim's age is more, he will get more compensation. Old person, age is less, he may get different compensation. Okay, so there was some debate on how much compensation he should get. Now, with respect to that, what happened? Like, one was using Aadhaar, another one was using, like, school pass out certificate. So when one is using school pass out, another one is using Aadhaar, court has directed that Aadhaar cannot be used as an identity for date of birth. This is a very, very important point for you guys. It is not proof of identity. Okay, it will not serve as proof of identity of date of birth. Okay, Aadhaar is just proof of identity of a person. It is proof of identity of a person and not date of birth. This can be asked in the exam. You're all aware about Aadhaar, but These type of basic aspects is very, very important for us. Additional data I have given, but okay. So Aadhaar is considered as proof of residence, guys. You can definitely take Aadhaar as proof of residence, but you cannot take Aadhaar as proof of citizenship. It is not proof of citizenship. That means, let us say a person from Bangladesh has come to India and he has got Aadhaar card, okay? He has got Aadhaar card. And on the Aadhaar card, we can say, okay, this guy is this, okay? Because what will be there? His name will be there, right? Photo will be there. We have, like, the iris scan, all this. So identity basis of the person can be established through Aadhaar. And residence, official residence address, okay? So for residence also we can use, but we cannot use it for date of birth. We cannot use it for citizenship. You cannot say that a Bangladeshi migrant cannot come and tell that I have Aadhaar, so I am citizen of India. No, okay, it is not there. And most importantly, remember, Supreme Court has also told that Aadhaar is not mandatory, it is voluntary. Whenever an individual is giving his data to the government, his information to the government, it will not be mandatory, it will be voluntary. And because of this voluntary debate, many people criticize, why is government telling that I will go for Aadhaar enabled payment system? So let us say if any old person or poor person doesn't have Aadhaar, then he will suffer because of not having Aadhaar card. He won't get all the facilities. So government is indirectly pressurizing the poor people to get Aadhaar is the complaint. Anyways, we are not getting into the details of why Aadhaar complaint is there, but I want you to know from prelims point of view, a very simple aspect, that is, which one can be used as identity card, which one can be used as date of birth, because the date of birth given in Aadhaar doesn't include any proofs for that. Okay, there is no proofs for that. This is the reason they don't accept with it. Now guys, let us talk about the Brics summit, okay, at Kazan, if I'm not wrong, yes, at Kazan, Russia. You had Brics summit, and this is approximately 16th Brics summit, guys, okay. So let me get into little details and explain you this particular aspect, guys. Brics is always a very important organization because the concept behind Brics is not political, but it is purely economical. Remember, there was a company by name Goldman Sachs, and this company basically told that, if at all we take BRIC company, okay, BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China. If we take these 4 countries, they can compete very well with G8 countries. At that time, even if you remove Russia, if you take G7, they can very well compete with G7 countries. And these 4 countries were considered as developing countries. Okay? These 4 were considered as developing countries, and these are your developed countries. Now, I'm talking about somewhere around 2008, 7-8. During this period, there was economic crisis in the world, which we call it as subprime mortgage crisis. It's popularly known as subprime mortgage crisis. Remember, 1929 you had Great Depression, 2008 you have subprime mortgage crisis. This was the most important crisis which altered the world economy. Now, what happened in this? Developed countries became weak. Their economy started becoming weaker, and developing countries' economy became strong. So, Goldman Sachs and others tried to say that developing countries cannot be neglected, especially these 4 countries should not be neglected. Now, what happened in United Nations? The BRIC countries for the first time thought we will meet. So, on the sidelines, what happened? They all met. They told, why shouldn't we have a formal summit? So, then they decided, let's all meet in Russia at Yekaterinburg. Okay, let us all meet in Russia, that is Yekaterinburg. And then they decided, let us come together and make an organization which is going to counter developed countries. Okay, this will counter developed countries. This was the core ideology of BRIC. Now, remember, the world is divided into North, we say global North, terminology wise also, global North, and we call it global South. Economically, North is developed countries, guys. Economically, North is developed countries, South is developing and least developed countries. This is one aspect for you. Okay, another one, remember, US and its friends were called as first world countries. Okay, US and all its friends were called first world countries. Russia and its friends were called as second world countries. The countries which did not join US and USSR, okay, US and USSR became third world countries. So, we may call it NAM countries. Okay. Now, what happened in 1990, when USSR disintegrated, okay, when USSR disintegrated, today first world countries are left and third world countries are left. So, rather than calling first world and third world, they started using the term North and South. Okay. So, when there is G7 countries, okay, when there is G7 countries, group of 7 developed countries, we say North-North cooperation. Okay, and whenever there is third world countries, we say South-South cooperation. You have an organization like G77. Okay, and then a combination of these two is basically called as G20. Okay, G20 is both North and South. Now, North is basically under the control of United States of America. Okay, and most importantly, US controls the world with few organizations like Bretton Woods institutions. Okay, So US control the world through Bretton Woods institutions, which are your IMF, World Bank, and today WTO. Earlier GATT, today WTO. And remember, US will try to counter the world with the help of dollars. So, whenever global currency is dollar, right? So, it is the most powerful currency in the world. Now, BRIC countries, initially 4, Brazil from South America, Russia from Europe and Asia, India and China from Asia, Africa was left over. So, we invited South Africa, so it became BRICS. And once BRICS came into picture, these BRICS countries decided that they should try to counter United States. So, the most important aspect of BRICS is to counter United States. Remember, not politically, not militarily, but they wanted to counter economically. Economically means they want to do everything to reduce the influence of US in terms of economy. You might have heard US keeps on imposing sanctions on the people. So, whenever US imposes sanctions, we call it CAATSA, countering American adversaries through Sanctions Act. Now, why is US putting sanctions? Whenever US don't like anyone, US will put sanctions on them. Now, the problem for me is, if US keeps on putting sanctions on me, I can't do business. So, I want to ensure in future US should not be powerful enough to counter me or to put sanctions on me. So, economically to counter, especially World Bank and IMF, BRICS countries came up with a concept called as BRICS Bank. BRICS Bank. Actual name of the bank is New Development Bank. Okay. The name of the bank is New Development Bank, NDB. Okay. And guys, the beauty of NDB is it is having power of these 5 countries. 20% share will be there and they will counter World Bank and IMF. Now, let me explain this little bit more. Now, here, when I talk about World Bank and IMF gives loan. There is no doubt. Okay, they give loan. But whenever they give loan, there are some conditions associated with it. For example, they won't give loan to Myanmar. They will tell Myanmar, in your country democracy is not proper, so I won't give money to you. So, they will put one or the other conditions and try to give money. So, this is not acceptable for most parts of the world. So, NDB's main intention is to give loan without conditions. Okay, to give loan without conditions, and this is known as a bank for developing world, NDB, New Development Bank. So, World Bank and IMF is countered by this. There is no problem with WTO because in WTO, every country has one vote. Voting rights, if you take, every country has one vote, and developing countries are more compared to developed countries. So, there is no fear in WTO. The most important fear is IMF and World Bank. But the dominance of dollar is another issue. So, all the countries in BRICS, they decided that they should try to replace dollar. Okay, slowly they want to replace dollar and bring alternative currencies. But this is being questioned. Okay, they want to bring alternative currencies, but this is being questioned now. Trump recently told that if anyone is trying to bring alternative currency, I'm going to put 100% sanctions on them. You won't get any aid, nothing will come from United States, because if dollar is touched, US economy collapses. But slowly countries like India and all are having bilateral agreements rather than doing at a multilateral forum. Okay. So because of all those aspects, BRICS has become very, very important. And remember guys, BRICS wants to expand, and they had invited a lot of people who wants to be part of it. But what are we interested is Turkey or Turkey, like Turkey, however you pronounce. This is actually a friend of US, part of NATO. Okay. And I told you they are part of first world countries, NATO, they are part of NATO. And a country which is part of NATO has come to BRICS and they have told, we also want to be part of BRICS. That's why this has become very, very important now. Okay. So, this is one very important aspect, guys. Guys, whenever in the world any new economic fund comes into picture, especially when a group of countries come together and develop any funds, it becomes very important for us. Now, if you look at it, we are planning for G20 pandemic fund, guys. G20 pandemic fund. Now, what is the meaning of G20 pandemic fund? Okay. So, there are many diseases which affect animals. And for these diseases, we need to give some money so that, like, cattle, sheep and other things will be protected. Okay. So, to ensure that zoal diseases or zoonotic diseases, however you pronounce. So, it is about, like, reducing the diseases of animals. Now, this, if you have to do, then you need some money, especially African countries and all. So, G20 pandemic fund is aimed at providing this, guys. This will be implemented by Asian Development Bank along with Food and Agricultural Organization. This is important. Which two banks are involved? They may replace ADB with World Bank. So, at that time you should be careful. Okay. So, this is very, very important, and the fund has to be utilized by 2026, it seems. Now, there is a new ID or card which is being given by Karnataka government to all the students. It is similar to Aadhaar card, but it is for students. Okay. So, it says one nation, one student, one card or ID card. One nation, one student, ID card. Okay. You might have heard about digital locker. Okay. So, now the moment I put the student ID, I will get all his certificates, guys. I will get all his certificates. Whatever certificates are there, I'll get. If he has got any prizes, like, if he has participated in any debates, right? If he has got any scholarship, everything about the student will be available in this data. So, once you have this data, you cannot morph it or you cannot change it, and it will be available for everyone. So it is like creating a database of skills and education of different people in India. So this is Apaar ID, similar to Aadhaar, but it is for students. And the full form of this is Automated Permanent Academic Account Register or Registry. Okay, Registry. This is also 12 member, right? 12 number, 12 digit, whatever you call. Okay, now see 1000, 1 lakh, 1000, 1 lakh, 1 crore. It will be like, 10,000 crores, right? So basically, when we go for these duplications, anything when it occurs, you are having 105 crore population, but you have 10,000 crore digits in which zeros, those things will be removed and they can do the probabilities. That is the reason 12 digits are most commonly used in India. If you go to Nepal and many other countries, they use only 5 or 6 digits. So, or 7 digits. Based on the population, the number of digits also varies, guys. Okay. So, I'm just trying to tell you to remember, else people will be always confused about it. Next. See guys, the next issue is about Houthis in Yemen. Okay. Now, if you actually look at the map, if you open the map and see, if this is Saudi Arabia, guys, this is Yemen, and here you have Red Sea. Okay, this particular part is your Djibouti. This is Somalia. This is Red Sea. Gulf of Aden. Remember guys, Saudi Arabia, Oman, okay, Saudi Arabia, I'll just write few names you see, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain. These 6 countries are mostly Sunni countries and they have established Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC, and the head of all this is Saudi Arabia. Okay, so Saudi Arabia is head of Sunnis, and when we say Iran, Iran is head of Shias. Shia community, Iran is head. Now, when we look at Yemen, okay, if we look at Yemen, there was a leader by name Saleh. He was a Sunni and he got support from GCC. Whereas the opposition group was Houthis and they are Shias. They got support from Iran. Remember, Iran supports Houthis in Yemen. They support Hamas in Palestine. They also support Hezbollah in Lebanon. Okay? Houthis, Iran supports Houthi, Hamas, Hezbollah, HHH. Remember the countries also. Okay? So, now what happens? In Yemen, when you have Sunni rule by Saleh, Houthi people, especially the Shias, they tried to attack him. They tried to attack the Sunnis. Now, when they attacked the Sunnis, he ran away. Okay? He ran away. And once he ran away, Houthis wanted to come to power. Now, who are Houthis? Houthis are Shias. And the moment Shias comes into picture, then this area will be under Shia control and Sunnis will lose. Due to this, Saudi Arabia plus GCC, that is including GCC, they all attacked Houthis. Okay? So, there is a war going on between Saudi Arabia, GCC on one side and Houthis on the other side. Now, this is supported by United States of America and this is supported by Iran. Okay? This is the fundamental thing that I want you to know. Now, recently, as you are all aware, there is a war going on between Israel and Palestine. And in Palestine, it is Houthis which attacked Israel, correct? Who attacked? Houthis attacked. Now, in support of Houthis, Hezbollah came. Sorry. Who attacked? Hamas attacked. And in support of Hamas, Hezbollah came. And then in support of Hezbollah, Houthis have come. Now, what Houthis are doing in Red Sea, if you recollect, just beside Red Sea only Houthis are there. So, in Red Sea, whenever Israel is coming, Houthis are attacking them. So, because of this, we are observing that Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, they all have come together and created threat to Israel, guys. So, whenever West Asia, anything comes into picture, it's very important for you to know about it, guys. Okay? It's very important for you to know about it. Then, guys, we have for the first time Asian Buddhist Council. First Asian Buddhist Summit or Buddhist Council is actually held in November in New Delhi. Okay. Now, the basic thing is role of Buddha Dhamma in strengthening Asia. So the main aspect is what? The role of Buddhist Dhamma in strengthening Asia. Almost 32 countries are coming into this. UPSC can ask you, what is the role of culture in spreading international relations? Okay, remember guys, culture plays a very important role in developing relations with different worlds. Israel respect India mainly because India is the only country where Jews have not been killed. And if you talk about Japanese, all these people, they respect India because of Buddhism. So there are many countries who come to India for Buddhist preachings, mainly because it is the land of Buddha where Buddha got enlightenment. Nepal, Buddha was born. In India, enlightenment occurred. It is because of this, there is huge support by Buddhist countries to India. Now, when these countries come, remember, it will improve our tourism. It will improve our tourism. And geographically, if you see, most of them are either Southeast Asia or East Asia. They are Southeast Asia or East Asia. And these are all under the influence of China, or they are victims of China. Now, when India tries to call all these people, we are trying to become closer to them culturally. Not only tourism, economic point and all, it is going to help India to build very good relations in Southeast Asia, East Asia and all. So please understand, one is Buddha, another one is these aspects. Now coming to history point of view. Remember, there is no year where they have not asked a question on either Buddhism or Jainism. So as they are talking about some Buddhist council type, please try to read, please try to read Buddhist councils. Okay? Please try to read Buddhist councils and many other regions where Buddhism has been spread. Okay? This is very, very important, guys. And India is also using a term here. You can use in your quotes in essays and all. India as the Dhamma Setu, bridge, connecting Asia. Okay. So this is what India plans to do and ensure the spread. Yes, every week we have a new disease. You can make note of all this. Leptospirosis. 2 people have died in Kerala. It is from water and soil, guys. Okay, it will come from water and soil. It affects animals also, people also. It's considered as a bacterial infection, guys. We have a new scientific method. Okay. Just let me explain this in detail, guys. This is basically called autologous. I'm giving you proper terminologies. Autologous hematopoietic stem cell transplant. Okay, because I'm a person from biotechnology, so know little bit about these technologies. I'll just give for a common man what is important. Now, if we look at this, let us say a person is suffering from blood cancer, okay, or some diseases where you need to go for blood transfusion, okay. That means you need to almost change the blood. So rather than that, autologous basically means from the same person who needs it, blood will be collected, okay, and it's not blood stem cells, okay. This will be collected and this will be collected from the bone marrow base. So bone marrow stem cells, we collect those which produce the blood. And now what we will do, right? First, we will remove the blood slowly. And send the blood, administer the blood produced from the own bone marrow, and it will be sent to the same person. So basically, hematopoietic stem cells means from the bone marrow, we will take the stem cells which will produce blood and the related cells, that we will take, separate it, and then we will try to remove the cancerous or other blood that we need to remove, and after removing that, we will inject the blood of the same person, and also we will inject the stem cells. So when we inject the stem cells, these stem cells will go inside the body and it will try to produce blood that is required for the body. So now what is the meaning of that? By using my own stem cells, they will be producing blood for my own body. Now when that occurs, like my body will not have any other problems. Normally, if I use someone's blood, there may be some issues because of their blood. But if I use my own, my body may accept it. So just remember, autologous hematopoietic stem cell transplant means basically taking stem cells which will produce blood from my body and again giving it to my body so that other reactions will be minimized. This is what it is trying to argue, guys. Nothing more than that. Okay. Now, there is, don't worry, if you understand the terminology, it's enough. See guys, if not for UPSC, even for other exams, it's important, and biotechnology is key part of it. That's the reason you should be aware about some new technologies that come. Nature Conservation Index, guys, like HDI and all, we have Nature Conservation Index. That means what efforts have been done by the government to protect the nature, maintain the cleanliness and all. So it is based on one, protection of biodiversity. This is very, very essential. Second, land management. Okay, how well are you utilizing the land? Biodiversity, land management, what is your capacity, and what are all the governance measures that you have taken? This can also be asked, please remember. Okay, what are the factors? And most importantly, future trends. This is also important. They predict if this continues where the country will be. On the basis of these four, they will give ranking. India has got 45.5 out of 100, due to which our rank is approximately 176 out of 180 guys. Okay, we are among the last 5. It's a very serious threat for us guys. So the last country to feel happy is Kiribati Islands, which is 180 rank. After Kiribati, Turkey is there, Iraq is there, Micronesia, above Australia there are few countries called Micronesia, and after that India is. They are from last. So nature conservation index, on the basis of the 4 aspects, India is in the last. Okay. It is developed by Goldman School of Sustainability, it seems guys. Fine. So basic problem is countries like Pakistan and all are faring better compared to India. But once these markers comes into picture, we need to know, because remember, when we talk about environment and all, I want you to use this data for explaining why measures should be taken by the government. So mains, essay and all, data is important, and this is the core data that I want you to rely on. Fine guys? These are some of the most important issues that we have to look. Now, in case if you have any doubts, please feel free to contact us, and you can also download the app or join our Telegram channel for Apex guys. It is Apex. Okay. So you will get the PDF for this particular thing guys. Fine. And those who are interested in mentorship for prelims, where tricks will be provided from subjects, what to read, what not to read, and also rapid revision of geography, polity to some extent, economy, what to read, history and all will be told. Not complete rapid revision, but what exactly we need to see will also be covered in detail, so that students who have already read and who are comfortable with the topics, for them it would be helpful. Fine. Thank you guys. Thanks a lot.